Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Majestic speaking with another episode of Mech Warrior Online here. And today we're playing with the Warhammer 7S in the Majestic series build for this particular variant, and we're gonna hop right into the action here on Caustic Valley. Now, popping over the side here, we have a Mad Cat and this Crab that look to be trying to group up and get a flank on us, but little do they know that we have the flank on them, so we're gonna peer over the side, put some shots into them until they do recognize that we're there. We're going to stay behind the natural terrain. That Crab looks like he's coming back. He's trying to get some shots into us, thinking that we're firing down at his friendlies down in the other side of the caldera here. But we're going to keep our focus that way. As you can see, our heat is spiking, so we do need to take that into consideration. Now, here in the distance, we do have a Viper that's trying to get some shots down on us in the caldera, but he quickly retreats. We have a Marauder 2C that's trying to push into the caldera, but he's easily going to get focused by the rest of our team, but he is accompanied by a Direwolf, and our Direwolf is actually going to head into the caldera. Those two are going toe-to-toe, so we're going to take the second line here and provide some amplification damage. This Direwolf right in front of us one more time into that center torso, and he goes down. Now, our Direwolf is taking a tremendous amount of punishment here. We're trying to help out as much as we possibly can. We're getting tacked on two flanks now, one inside the caldera, and now one in the Echo 5 quadrant outside of the caldera. This Bushwhacker looks like he's trying to push forward, but he's going to make his way into the caldera as well and help out the rest of his team. There is a Mauler, though, who's made his way out of the caldera, so now we have another target, and we're just going to try and focus up on whatever is going to give us the best opportunity. And right now it's this Mauler who's not going to make it back to the rest of his team. Looks like he's turned around. He is going to try and focus up on me and the rest of my team out here. We did overheat, but we did finally help out in getting the kill there. Now we're going to focus back up on the inside of the caldera. This Locust is going back and forth, trying to get some cheeky little shots there. He is accompanied by a Marauder, though, and the Marauder is trying to take out both of us, but it's 2-on-1, and he has every inch of all of his torsos cored up. So we're going for the kill shots here, and he's trying to go for the kill shots, but he overheats, so that gives us the win in that encounter. Now, we are getting targeted behind us. We have this Locust to worry about, so we need to get out of the caldera and focus up a little bit more towards getting into cover. Now, this is what plagues me, though, is that every round, somehow I always square off against a Locust by myself, and I just can't get these little buggers down. I'm trying so hard to get one kill on a Locust. It would just be really, really satisfying, especially in this type of scenario. It looks like I will have some help from one of my teammates, though. It looks like our Bushwhacker friendly is going to come down and help me get this guy down. Weak left leg. That's what we're going to have to focus on. My teammate is able to take out that leg and finally gets the kill on him as well. So again, we are foiled by the Locust, but now we're going to have to group up with the rest of our team. It's 10-8. So these guys did make a comeback. We put an Alpha into that Marauder 2C and took off his left torso. A big Alpha into that Cataphract, and he goes down. So it's 11-8 at this point, and we're just going to try and tank some damage before the rest of our team is able to hopefully get this kill on the Marauder 2C. We're going to go toe-to-toe with this guy. He is pretty weak, and we're pretty weak as well, but hopefully we're able to last the round. He has medium pulse lasers and some long-range missiles that he's targeting us for. He's going for my center torso, but my team is able to come to my aid and finally wrap up with that final kill. 12-8 is your final, so a very, very intense round, especially at the end. Finally got them all down. 2 kills, 8 assists, 6 times doing the most damage, 1,082 damage with 7 components destroyed. We did top the leaderboards. We did survive the round. An unbelievable first round of gameplay, especially on a very, very heat-intensive map like Caustic Valley. Very happy with the result. I hope you guys enjoyed this first round too. Great teamwork overall, coming to each other's aid, recognizing exactly how the battle unfolded, taking note of where the final enemies were, and ultimately cleaning up the rest of the battle for the victory. So that's going to do it for the first round of gameplay. Let's hop back into the Mech Lab now that you know the loadout and go through the rest of the specs of this Majestic series build on the Warhammer 7S. Here we go. Alrighty guys, welcome back to the Mech Lab, where we're going to go through the details of the build on this guy I have in front of me, the Majestic series Warhammer 7S. Now, we went through the loadout in the first round. You guys saw what the loadout entailed, but now it's time to go through the overview, the specs, and exactly how everything is laid out, exactly where everything is placed on this mech. that makes it so potent out there on the battlefield. So it is an inner sphere heavy, and you don't really see the 7S out there very often, especially in comparison to the 7D and the Black Widow. So we're going to take a deeper dive into exactly what makes this mech so unique and why I'm actually favoring it out there on the battlefield. So first, let's check out the specs. And if we look at the overview here, we have 0 ballistic, 6 energy, 3 missile, 1 AMS, and 0 ECM. As for the quirk summary, we have acceleration and deceleration rate bonuses, base structure bonuses in the center torso, left torso, left arm and right arm, left leg, and right leg. So the only place that's missing really is the head, and then they also have some weapon quirk bonuses that cater towards both weapons, actually, that we're using, or both weapon types, I should say. So we have the energy heat bonus, reduction of 5%, laser duration bonus of 15%, missile cooldown bonus of 10%, and inner sphere PPC velocity bonus of 30%. Now, you already saw from the loadout that we're not using any PPCs on this build, and that is strictly because we are going all short range. So up close and personal, this mech really deals the hurt. I mean, after the first round of gameplay, I'm sure you guys already got that situated or figured out that that's the intention behind this build. But if we actually take a deeper dive into where all this stuff is placed, so you could see that the 2 missile hardpoints in the right torso and the 1 missile hardpoint in the left torso are all high mounted. So one of them in the right torso and the other in the left torso are above the cockpit. So you know if you're looking at your opponents, as long as there is nothing obstructing your vision, you're pretty sure of a shot that you'll be able to hit your target. Now, the second missile hardpoint is right next to the cockpit. So again, if you're looking at it, if you can see it, there's nothing obstructing your vision, you know that all 3 of your pods for missiles are going to actually hit and connect with their target. Now, as for the energy hardpoints, they're very symmetrical. We have 2 energy hardpoints in each torso and then 1 energy hardpoint in each arm. Now, just to make this mech more heat efficient, I decided to go with the small pulse lasers as opposed to the medium lasers. The medium lasers definitely give off a little bit more heat, and they have a longer duration than the small pulse lasers. So I figured, and even with that duration reduction quirk, I just figured, you know what, I want to keep this mech as heat efficient as possible, use as many alpha strikes as we possibly can, cycle through the weapons that we're using, and really rack up the damage through that standpoint, as opposed to, you know, having to stand back, cool down, go in for another shot. And even with the small pulse lasers, this is a very, very heat-intensive mech. So if we look at the stats overview, 70 out of 70 tons, 72 out of 78 slots filled, 432 out of 434 armor. We only took 2 armor hardpoints out of the head. 1.28 is the heat management ratio. That includes 15 double heat sinks, 10 in the engine, and 5 on top of the rest of the mech. So 2 on top of the engine, 1 in the right arm, and then 2 in the left arm. So it is pretty heat efficient. You can use it, you know, obviously in that sense where, you know, you're cycling through the weapons. You want to give yourself enough time for an ample cooldown and then start churning through your alpha strikes again. It has a 62.7 alpha. This is a mastered mech, so it does also have speed tweak and everything to go along with it, but a 62.7 alpha is pretty significant, especially at close range. And with the structure bonuses that the Warhammer is so well known for the inner sphere heavies, you know, when you're up close and personal, that's really where this mech shines. So, you know, in the early stages of the game, you might not see a lot of action, especially if it's a larger map. But once it starts to develop, once you start to get into a position where your enemies are really trying to get either a flank on you or maybe they're trying to make a push, that's where this mech is really supposed to be used, because you know that you're not going to be dealing that much outside of the maximum range that the SRM-6 small pulse laser combo can deal. Now, what also makes this mech really awesome, and especially this particular build, is that standard 300 engine. So we're not using an XL engine on here in order to make sure that even if we did lose one of our torsos, the other torso can still fire. So that's the big advantage here, is that when you lose a torso, you pretty much are only losing half of your loadout. That means half of the DPS here is what's going to go away. So you're still looking at, you know, 31 and a half roughly DPS on the other side, depending on which one gets taken off. So, you know, on average, that's what you can be looking forward to. And with the standard engine, you don't have to worry about that. You can lose a torso, and you're still able to fight out there on the battlefield. So that's a huge bonus to this build in particular. I know a lot of you guys are probably looking at that and saying, like, that's definitely an added bonus there, because it's crippling to the inner sphere, where you throw the XL engine in there to get some extra speed, to get some more tonnage for your loadout. But when you pop that torso for a mech that doesn't have structure quirks and everything like that, that's where you really start to get into a dicey situation. So since this mech does have the structure quirks, it does have the standard engine in there, you know that it's meant to be durable out there on the battlefield, especially once you get into those positions where you are actually doing that close range combat kind of damage on the front line. So just keep that in mind if you decide to build this out for yourselves. This is the Majestic Series build for it. I've never seen this build actually out there on the battlefield before, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm really having a lot of fun with it. With speed tweak and everything, it goes 74.6 kph with that standard 300 in there. And, again, it's just a very balanced, heat-efficient, fun mech to use. So, never try to get too aggressive, especially in the early stages of the match. Just be patient, and once you get, the match develops a little bit more, you're definitely going to be at the forefront. You're definitely going to be racking up the damage, especially, and now let's head over to the modules, when you add these kind of modules in there. You have advanced seismic sensor in case anything comes within 250 meters of range. You will see it with the sensor on the minimap. So, even the SRMs alone have a 270 meter optimal range. So, you know that if they go within that, if you see it on the mini-map, that if you can actually spot your target, that you will be inflicting maximum damage on your opponent. So definitely keep that in mind. That's a critical module to have, especially once you're going short range with this type of build. Radar deprivation, again, being on the front lines. In case anyone decides to target you, you want to be hidden as soon as you hide behind any sort of terrain or object that might be on the battlefield that you can use for cover. So you don't want them to get any sort of targeting information on you, and the radar deprivation, especially being on the front lines, is absolutely critical. As for the weapon modules, we catered to cooldown on both of the weapon types that we're using. We're only using 2 weapon types. We're using the SRM-6s and the small pulse lasers. So I just placed cooldown on there. So now with the SRM-6 cooldown level 5 module, we have 12% from that module plus the 10% base that comes with the variant. So we have a 22% cooldown total on the SRM-6s, and for the small pulse lasers, they have a 12% there, and we didn't get any cooldown bonus on energy weapons on this particular variant, but we do have the duration and the heat generation bonus that'll definitely help out, especially in coupling with that SRM cooldown. Will continue to make this mech very heat efficient on the battlefield. In case we do happen to, spike the heat a little bit, maybe we're churning through the alphas, churning through the damage, and really spiking the heat going through, the SRM-6s and the small pulses, the Cool Shot 9x9 is absolutely critical in this situation, just to keep this mech as cool and heat efficient as possible. With a 1.28 heat management ratio, it is very heat efficient, but you do have to be careful. You don't want to keep, using this mech on the front lines without giving it, a proper amount of cooldown. So that Cool Shot 9x9 is definitely critical. And I actually coupled it also with the Cool Shot 6. Now, again, just really stabbing at that heat threshold. Just don't want it really to go above where it needs to be. And if I can, pop that Cool Shot 6 and even fire off just the lasers or just the missiles, that's the intention behind that 6, is because once you're on the front lines, you want to churn out as much damage as you can for your team and make your opponents back up. So I decided to even just mix it up a little bit. The 9x9, obviously, to get that, so that we can do a full alpha again with all of our weapons, and then that 6 as a backup, once we do get, through a couple alpha strikes, we can use the 6 to do a partial alpha or even start chain firing. So that's the intention behind all the consumables, the mech and weapon modules, the details of the build and everything. But that's about it for the overview on the mech. So I think it's about that time that we hit the battlefield once more and take out the Majestic Series Warhammer 7S once more. Here we go. Alrighty guys, here we go. Second round of gameplay is going to take place on Grim Plexus. And as I was mentioning to you guys just a moment ago, we have to be very, very patient, especially in the early stages of this round. A very big, pretty open map, heat neutral for the most part, so we do have a little bit of cooling efficiency in our favor from that perspective, but we do have to wait until this battle kind of pans out a little bit. And as you can see, there is some long-range trading going on. And even just peeking around the corner for a split second, we're already getting targeted by multiple enemies, so we're just going to have to remain in cover as best we possibly can. As you can see, a majority of our team is forming up in Echo 5, Fox 5, so it looks like they are taking the long-range approach. Now, for us, that's pretty bad, because we know that we need to move up in order to do any sort of damage, help out the team in any sort of capacity. We can't just sit here behind a rock the entire game. And as you can see, even off in the distance, there are some lerms flying, so a lot of heavy reliance on long-range trading, seemingly for both sides. So now I'm just going to type to them and be like, hey guys, you know, you care to move up? We probably should put some pressure on them, especially if they are long range. If we take the battle to them, maybe we'll be able to scare them off, make them scatter a little bit and become unorganized. But right in front of us, actually, we have a Scorch moving up and a Warhawk. It looks like they do have a couple targets here on the flank, moving towards Echo 7, Fox 7. So we're already making that little bit of an aggressive push towards the enemy team. Not going to sit back anymore, especially when our assaults are getting targeted near the front. We do have to help them out as best we can and get there as fast as we possibly can. We're probably going to lose that Scorch if I had to guess. I'm going to tell the team over comms, help us out, start to move up a little bit. We cannot make it to the other side and actually put down a sufficient amount of damage and firepower into them without your support. But now we actually are positioned in a better place on the map that we can actually start to help out the team a little bit from the damage perspective. So peering over the top, it looks like a summoner. Yeah, Charlie is a summoner, and we are accompanied by a Jenner who does absorb the blow of that ERPPC as he popped up on top of the hill here. Now we do have a Mauler over there on the right side in Gulf 8, in the corner of Gulf 8. Looks like he's going to try and retreat a little bit. 2 Gauss, 2 ERPPCs. And yes, he is going to make it back towards the rest of his team. He is targeted by a little bit of lerms on our side. But now it's starting to get ridiculous. Move up, guys. We need some help up there. Stop sitting in the back. You see a bunch of us are moved up. We're trying to get some help. You can amplify the damage, but we just need the bodies right now. We cannot get picked off one by one. And right in front of us, the Zeus is focusing up on our Enforcer, so we are not the primary target, which allows us to put down some amplification damage into this guy. And finally, he's going to go down, so that Zeus goes down. He was accompanied by a Huntsman, but the Huntsman is a little too late to help, and finally goes back to retreat with the rest of the team. Now we're going to use these blocks up top, so this little fortification here to protect us on the flank. Now if we peer over the top here, we have this Mad Cat that's firing off some lasers, and based on the targeting information, he does have some lerms and those ER larges, but we're going to push him back into cover. Peering over the top again, this Huntsman is right in front of us, so we're going to focus up on him. He has to be pretty badly hurt at this point. We know that we put some salvos into him earlier, and he is going to retreat. It's 4-1 at this point, and this Hunchback 4J is popping up on top of the platform and easily gets taken out to put us at 4-2. Now this Atlas is trying to get a flank on a couple of our friendlies that are actually down in the pit, and he's going to focus in on a couple of them, but that gives us, again, some free reign there in putting down some shots. Now this Highlander 2C got way too aggressive on the platform here, didn't even realize that we were behind him, put some big alpha strikes into his back, and finally he goes down. We are helped out by the rest of our team in getting that kill, and turning around the corner here, we have a couple bogeys in the distance. The Summoner hopped down off the platform, so the missiles did miss, but we're gonna wait for another target to pop back up, and right in front of us we have this Atlas that is barely visible, but just enough to get both our missiles and our small pulse lasers to connect. So again, we're gonna peer over the top. We do have the cover on our left side again, and now we could just put some free damage into this guy. We are getting flanked a little bit though by this Summoner off to the right. Charlie is actually making his way towards us. He has the range on us, but for whatever reason, he's making his way back towards the rest of the team. It is 6-4 at this point, and he gets targeted enough to get taken out of the battle. So it's 6-5 now. Going for this Atlas, we're going for the back armor, but he's turning around, and this Arctic Cheetah came out of nowhere, and we're able to put him down with one salvo of missiles, now targeting multiple bogeys in front of us. We have this Shadowhawk, another Shadowhawk, and that Atlas came back in. That Atlas just will not go down. The rest of my team is going to focus up on the top of the platform, right on that corner of Fox 7, and I'm going to swing around with the Cicada here, get into the back of this Atlas, put some massive damage into that backside, and he finally goes down as well. It is 9-7. We have taken the lead. Now it's time to go for these Shadowhawks. One more salvo should take this guy down, and there he goes. So now both Shadowhawks are down. The last opponent remaining is this Huntsman, and everyone is focusing up their fire on him. We put a couple salvos into him, but finally the team is able to take him out to end the round. Again, 12-8 is your final score. A very, very close round. We were behind the entire time until the end. 3 kills, 8 assists, 1,083 damage with 6 components destroyed, 4 times doing the most damage. We did top the leaderboards here, and we survived. So again, another huge victory for the team. Excellent, excellent teamwork by the end. In the beginning, it looked very, very grim, but everyone got together, focused up on their targets, helped out in sharing some armor, and ultimately we were able to get all 12 of those guys down. But again, a fantastic round of gameplay. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This really is a Majestic heavy mech. I absolutely love playing it, and if you guys decide to get it for yourselves, please let me know. And if you tinker and tamper with it a little bit, you have a similar loadout or a completely different loadout, I want to hear about it, and I'm sure the rest of the community would love to hear about it, so please feel free to post it in the comment section below. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of MechWarrior Online. You guys know that the Majestic series builds mean the most to me because they are personal builds from my own collection that I've messed with for the longest amount of time, perfecting for my personal playstyle. So that's probably going to be the last one before the new skill tree comes out. I want to thank you guys so much for all the support. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, check out the links in the description. I will have the Smurfy link there in case you guys want to build it for yourselves, along with my Patreon and PayPal pages in case you want to help out support the channel. From a financial perspective, I want to thank you guys for all the support. I really do appreciate it. I had so much fun taking this mech out on the battlefield for you guys. I wanted to give you one more Majestic series build before we hit the new skill tree, which is supposed to launch this coming Tuesday. So again, thank you guys so much for all the support. I'm really excited to see what else we can come up with once the new skill tree is added. I had an absolute blast on the battlefield. I want to thank you all again, and I look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Take care, guys.